Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Thursday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We appreciate you jumping on and joining the show today. We got a good one lined up for you. We're going to kick it off here in just a second with our good friend Brent Beaird talking college sports, football. And then the second portion is our Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup talking high school football. But let's go straight to the Titan MR hotline. And we're joined by Brent Beaird, our Heisman Trophy voter. On the show. Good morning, Brent. How are you?
Shane, I'm doing well. It's always good to be with you, and especially with game week. We thought we may not get here, but we have. And frankly, that's a victory for everybody.
Yep. Brent, you've been like that little kid on Christmas Eve, right? Every night you can't go to sleep because you're so excited for Saturday.
Yeah, something like that. That's very true. We've actually got a game on tonight. UAB is at South Alabama. So for non-NFL watchers, that gives them something to watch too. But yeah, it's been very excited about it and just hoping we can get through all the games on Saturday without any problems.
No doubt. Brent, before we jump into the Southeastern Conference, let's talk about some of the other leagues around the country that are deciding they want to try to play football.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? The Pac-12 is actually going to vote this week, and I believe that may even end up being tonight on what they're going to do. Now, again, part of the issue here for the Pac-12 is going to be is how safe it is with the fires and the condition of the air. Remember, if Oregon and Ohio State had played when they originally were supposed to play, a few days ago, they may not have been able to play because of the condition of the environment at that point. So, but yes, but if they vote to play, it would probably be something akin to starting around Halloween or maybe later and playing 6 games, which means they would not be involved with the college football playoff. And also Mountain West and the MAC are talking. Looks like they're going to be doing something, both of them Friday or this weekend, in making a decision there. So you're right. We may have 3 more join us over the next few months.
Yeah, there's been some reports out of the University of Texas that by the end of 2020, Brent, they have a chance of losing $162 million because of the pandemic. You know, we're talking the University of Texas. I can't imagine what some of the schools in the SEC are going to lose.
Well, Texas, when you look at the numbers every year, they either make the most or gross the most, depending on really what stat you're looking at. But even for Texas, that as deep as those pockets are, and I'm sure they've got a decent amount in the bank. But look, you're right. I don't care who you are. When you're looking at that much money, that's an incredible hit. And we're looking at schools that are furloughing or laying people off, and look, we all want to be safe, and they're all going through the protocol of it being able to do it. But Shane, it doesn't take long to look and see how important the money these schools get from the television contracts just to keep them afloat, does it?
No, not at all. Brent, so we finally get to game week, as you mentioned, and we're going to run through some games here, get your thoughts on some notes that stand out. It's going to be a mismatch there with Alabama and Missouri. Poor old Eli Drinkwitz gets the Crimson Tide in his first game as the head coach of the Missouri Tigers. What are you looking for in that game, and what should people, if they watch it? Do you think Bryce Young's going to get a lot of playing time at quarterback?
Yeah, I think he'll get some, yes. And if Bama doesn't turn the ball over, I think this game probably is over quickly. But again, it's going to be interesting to see how Mac Jones does at quarterback. You've got Najee Harris, who's a Heisman candidate. Devonta Smith returns for Alabama, maybe their best offensive line since 2012. And they've got plenty of young talent that people have just talked about really throughout the last several months. Will Anderson is a guy that they're not going to be able to keep off the field. They really like what he has done so far, along with Drew Sanders. But a lot of the young players get a chance to be seen, such as Bryce Young. And you've got veterans like Dylan Moses, who is back. Missouri, on the other hand, we don't quite know who the quarterback's going to be. We think it will be probably Sean Robinson, who is a TCU transfer. I would look for him probably to come off the bench first. Curtis Looper is the co-offensive coordinator on the Missouri team. They have last week as many as 12 players because of COVID who may not play. We heard yesterday that was down to 7, which is a real help for them. They've got a really good running attack. I think that's the strength of that team, is to be able to run the ball with Roundtree, who's one of the more heralded running backs in the league, and watch and see if Damon Hazleton, the transfer from Virginia Tech, plays at wide receiver. That will help them a lot. But bottom line, as you said, this frankly is a mismatch in terms of talent.
Yep. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today, 352-244-0840. Speaking with Brent Beaird on the Titan MR hotline, you can follow him on Twitter at Brent Beaird. We got a text on the Titan MR text line. It says it's from Daryl. Daryl says, Brent, good seeing you at the game last Friday night. Brent, you must have been in Clay. You must have been over in Clay watching the Blue Devils.
I was. Yes.
Shane, could you ask Brent who his dark horse in the SEC might be?
Well, I probably, and they're almost not even a dark horse right now, but I think you've got to look at Kentucky. And Kentucky had 7 players on the SEC preseason coaches team. Best line of scrimmage they've had in years. We've heard from Larry Vaught, who covers Kentucky, one of their beat writers. He said it's the deepest Kentucky team that he ever remembers, and he's covered them for decades. That says a lot. And Shane, frankly, it won't surprise me at all if they beat Auburn at Auburn on Saturday. They've got that good of a team this year.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, we're going to go to that game next. That's one game that I think a lot of the so-called experts say that could be the best, most competitive game, and look out Auburn for an upset. When you look at Auburn, year 2 of Bo Nix, I thought he was very erratic last year. Do you think he'll be improved this year? Second part of the question is, with Kentucky, Terry Wilson comes back from an injured knee, but is Joey Gatewood, what's his status? Is he being cleared yet to play?
No, he has been cleared. He's been cleared by the NCAA, but he's yet to be cleared by the SEC. So Cade Mays at Tennessee is the same way. He has been waiting to be cleared by the SEC. Commissioner Greg Sankey was asked about this yesterday, and his reply was, we are dealing with these issues as efficiently as we can. So I don't quite know what that means at this point. I mean, I'm sure they've got a number of issues to deal with, but I mean, it's game week, for crying out loud, so let's go. But no, Gatewood from Jacksonville, started at Auburn, now at Kentucky, has yet to be cleared. So that's a good point. Terry Wilson is a Kentucky quarterback. He was hurt last year and is frankly a pretty decent quarterback. But again, to me, the thing to watch for Kentucky is going to be the lines of scrimmage. They've got 2 good running backs, and Rose is one, and Smoke is the other. That they've done a really good job. Very good point on Bo Nix. Been very inconsistent, particularly going downfield. Has got a pretty good group of receivers, around him, such as Seth Williams. The Auburn beat writers would tell you very quickly Auburn's weakness is their offensive line. They are very inexperienced on their offensive line and in their secondary. Question is, Shane, can Kentucky take advantage of that?
Yeah, no doubt. We're going to save Florida game for last, Brent. Georgia at Arkansas, is this just going to be a blowout, you think?
Yeah, it will, and certainly eventually, because you've got to give a little bit of time as far as the quarterback situation at Georgia. J.T. Daniels, speaking of being cleared, has not been medically cleared yet, and the game is Saturday. This is Thursday. Now, they think that's going to happen before Saturday, but what everyone is hearing is Dwan Mathis, their redshirt freshman, has emerged as possibly the quarterback. Mathis is 6'6", 210, which is, he should have no problem seeing over the offensive line. But again, this is a guy that had brain surgery to remove a cyst from his sinus cavity. So that's going to be a really great story. Trey McKitty, if that name's familiar, he comes from FSU at tight end. He will not be available in order to play. There's been a lot of publicity this week about Otis Reese, who was the former Georgia safety, who, ironically enough, is at Ole Miss. That situation has not been cleared up yet either. So Todd Monken coming in at Georgia, retooling the offense. The defense will be tremendous. There's no question about that. Malik Herring, Monty Rice, Richard LeCount III. But again, Kendall Browse with Arkansas, Sam Pittman over there. I think they'll be able to cobble together a pretty decent offensive line. Rakeem Boyd is one of the better running backs in the league that really no one talks about. They've got an offensive line that has a decent amount of experience. They've got better receivers, Mike Woods, Traylon Burks, Trey Knox, than people give them credit for. And obviously Felipe Franks is the quarterback. And look, they may not win a game, but I could see as the year goes on that they could improve vastly by November and frankly put a little bit of a scare in some teams.
Yep. Brent, the one game that I think they have a chance of winning it is Mississippi State going to Death Valley there in Tiger Stadium just because of their style of play. LSU lost so many great players. New quarterback Miles Brennan. Your thoughts on that game?
I would agree with that, and that's going to be a dicey game in some way for LSU, but for Mississippi State, KJ Costello, who Shane, I think we both think is going to be a very good quarterback, the Stanford transfer, particularly in Mike Leach's system. Terrell Shavers, if that name's sound familiar, he's an Alabama transfer as one of the receivers. He has earned a starting spot. Will Rogers is going to be the backup quarterback at Mississippi State. Scott Lashley, who came from Alabama right now, is out because of an injury. Kylan Hill at running back, watch him. He's going to be used a lot this year, particularly coming out of the backfield. That's going to be important. Still a lot of concerns about the Mississippi State defense. But look, for LSU, Miles Brennan, they like him. They think he's going to be okay. Now, he's not Joe Burrow. Let's be honest about that. I think Chris Curry at running back will help them along with John Emery. They've got Eric Gilbert, who's one of the better tight ends, but he's a freshman. Jabril Cox is a transfer from North Dakota State. People don't need to laugh about that because this kid's an All-American. North Dakota State is a power, to say the least. But again, Scott Lanahan is there. Joe Brady is not. And look, I'm with you. I don't trust this LSU team yet. They've got tremendous talent, particularly with the younger group that they've got. Bo Pelini replaces Dave Aranda. I think Aranda's a better DC than Pelini. But LSU's progression this year is going to be one of the more fascinating things to be able to see. And this game may be a lot closer than people realize in the fourth quarter.
Yep. A very intriguing game to me. I think it's almost a must-win for both teams. Tennessee at South Carolina.
Yeah, I agree entirely. And again, if folks just tuned in, Tennessee's still waiting word on Cade Mays to be cleared, the Georgia transfer. With that, South Carolina has actually won 3 or 4 in the series, which is a feather in Will Muschamp's cap. But he's taking advantage of what Tennessee has been as of late. We still don't know who the quarterback's going to be at Tennessee. Will it be Garantano? Will it be Brian Marr? 2 guys we saw in Gainesville last year. They've got a freshman quarterback who everybody loves, and Harrison Bailey. So he may get a little bit of time too. I think Eric Gray and Ty Chandler are pretty good running backs for Tennessee. I think the line of scrimmage, Tennessee's frankly going to be very good. The thing that really intrigues me about South Carolina, and I'm curious, Shane, what you think about this, if this surprised you. Mike Bobo is the new offense coordinator, and Mike Bobo is bringing Colin Hill with him from Colorado State, and he's playing instead of Ryan Helinski, which tells me, and interpret this for me, that Will is trusting Mike Bobo with that offense, which is something Will has not done, in trusting other guys totally. If they can get a running game going and someone to help Shi Smith at the wide receiver position, that's going to help them. But I'm with you. This is a big game for both these teams.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it. And I agree with you. With Bobo coming in, Colin Hill's going to need to play well, because I really like the Helinski kid. I think he's got a bright future. All right, Brent, we got a few more minutes left with you. Brent Beaird, you can follow him on Twitter at Brent Beaird. Gators travel to Oxford, facing old Lane Kiffin. Florida has the better football team, but you never know what Lane Kiffin may have up his sleeve.
The thing that Kiffin really is known for, people think he's a real good developer of quarterbacks. He would tell you that he is a better play caller than he is anything else. That's what gives defensive coordinators nightmares when they're dealing with them. But if you're a Gator fan, Florida's got the better roster at this point too. I'll be fascinated to see what they're going to do at quarterback. Matt Corral is supposed to be, we think, the starter at this point, but Riley Plumlee is a very good quarterback too. He just gives you, John Rice Plumlee, he just gives you a lot of different looks with his legs. He's not a great passer. Corral's a better passer. Jaron Ely is a pretty good running back. At this point, their offensive line is very young. They've got 14 offensive linemen in the 2 deep. 9 of them are either freshmen or redshirt freshmen. Boy, that tells you a lot about that team, doesn't it? Elijah Moore, who was famous for the Egg Bowl last year, regardless, is still a good wide receiver. And I'll be frank with you, I just don't trust their defense, even though the co-coordinators are Chris Partridge and DJ Durkin, who is on the Florida staff. So they've got a few good defensive players. I think Sam Williams is going to play on the defensive line. He's been in and out of some issues with that, but they're still struggling defensively. So I think it could be interesting for a couple of quarters, but Florida will, with their consistency on this team with Kyle Trask, and particularly with Dan Mullen, will take this game over, and this will be an easy win before the fourth quarter is over.
Got about 1 minute left here with you, Brent. I want to get your thoughts on the semis traveling down to play the Miami Hurricanes. Your thoughts on that game?
Obviously, FSU's had a week off, which I think is going to help them considerably. Here's the thing to watch for that game. They had 4 quarterbacks, Florida State did, in practice, and that was important. If the Purdy kid can play at quarterback, he eventually is going to be the starter, and he can make a big difference with this team. Their defense, frankly, for FSU, it's still, I think, very good. And if that happens, Chubba Purdy is who I was talking about at quarterback with a shoulder injury. So I do think Miami probably has too much for them right now. They're a bit too explosive, but the defense can keep it close. That's going to be a very interesting game. Can they hold Cameron Harris down? Derek King has looked very good so far, and the Cane defense have been improving. A good game to watch on Saturday night.
No doubt. So, Brent, I'm picturing Brent Beaird Saturday with like 4 or 5 TVs hooked up, you sitting on the couch with your popcorn. Are you fired up for Saturday?
I am, to say the least. It's here. We've waited a long time. Gosh, there was sometime about a month or so ago, we didn't know we'd have this state, did we, Shane? So we can all celebrate together for Saturday, brother.
Absolutely. Well, Brent, have a good weekend, my man. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you next week.
Always enjoy it. Take care.
That's Brent Beaird. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline. You can follow him on Twitter at Brent Beaird. At Center State Bank, we put business first. We are the largest community bank in the state of Florida and understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. Center State has 5 convenient Alachua County locations to serve you better. Center State Bank, remember FDIC. You're going to take our first time out of the program. We come back. We're going to hop into our Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios.
Hey, Gator Nation, this is your former head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. Check out our show, Inside the Huddle with Shane Matthews and Steve Russell, every Tuesday during football season on 8:50 a.m. and 98.1 FM WRUF at 10 o'clock a.m.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility.
GTS Handyman Services, whether you need carpet cleaning or expert painting in Gainesville, they are the team to hire.
Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte.
Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Dar Shakow Insurance, Pomodoro Cafe,
Big Mills Cheesesteaks,
MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Aver and Smith Personal Injury Attorneys, Orange Theory Fitness, PRP Regeneration Specialist, and Dowling Signs.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome to the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. We're going to now go to the Titan MR Hotline, and we're going to be joined by Newberry head football coach Edward Johnson. Coach Johnson, how you doing?
Doing well. Thank you for having me on, Shane.
Absolutely. You, the Newberry Panthers, sit at 2-1 on the season. Before we talk about your next opponent, let's just talk about those 3 games that you played so far. How has your team improved from week 1 to week 3?
I think we've improved a lot. The one good thing, we played some 3 tough battles. Our kids are playing extremely hard, which is something we can work with. And, we're learning week by week, getting a little better, adding a little bit more to the playbook. We're looking to keep improving as the season goes.
Now, Coach, how many games do you have on your schedule that you're supposed to play this year?
We have 10 scheduled. So we have.
You do have 10.
Yeah,
okay,
we're
good.
blessed enough to get a full schedule.
And you've opted into the state series, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So talk a little bit last week. I know week 1, I think y'all lost a heartbreaker to Hawthorne. You came back, you've beaten Trenton and Union County in back-to-back weeks. Talk a little bit about how the game went last week against Union County.
Tough, hard-fought game. Union's a very talented team. They're young. They got a really good coach over there, and Coach Thomas. It was back and forth. We were up, I think, 15-0 at halftime. Came out, had a bad series, threw a pick 6, kind of gave them some momentum and let them back in the game. And it was a game up until the last minute. Actually, they scored on the last play of the game to make it the final score, 28-21.
So, Coach, let me ask you this. When your quarterback threw that pick six, what did you say to him?
Got to make better decisions. He's scrambling, trying to make a play. He threw it late across the middle, something he knows better. He's a senior right now, so he learned from it.
Well, the reason I say that, your son's the quarterback, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know how it is coaching your son. So that's got to be a good. That's one thing that being high school coaches, y'all, you have a great relationship with all the players because a high school coach has the most influence on a kid, an athlete, more than any coach you'll ever have. But it's got to be cool coaching your own son, right?
It is. It's very cool. It's a blessing. I've been able to coach him since he was 5 or 6, and kind of the good Lord worked it out this way where I can get him, his junior and senior year for football. It's fun. I think we get a good balance, with trying to separate football and home. So it's definitely fun.
So, Coach, who do you got tomorrow night on the schedule?
We got Pearson Taylor coming to us this week, Friday.
How do they look on tape?
They're a lot better than they were last year. I think they beat Bell last week. They got a couple athletes. We're a little bigger than them up front on the line. So, we're looking to come out and improve from last week, and come out with the W.
Coach, how is your team? I mean, this year has been just crazy. How's your team responded with all the different protocol that high school kids have to go through a lot of more, not as much as college athletes, but still, how have your kids handled it? I know it's been tough. How did y'all when you traveled to Hawthorne, did you have to take extra buses and spread kids out? What did y'all have to do?
Yeah. Our kids, first question, our kids will handle it about as well as you think, teenage boys can handle, uncertainty and change. They're bouncing back. We try to remind them, daily that it's a blessing. All summer we didn't know if we were going to get to play, a single game. So, we're blessed to be able to play the 3 we've played so far. And they're handling it pretty well. As far as traveling to Hawthorne, it's the only away game we had. We had to take an extra bus. We actually had to get a local church van, provide more social distancing while we're traveling. It's definitely some adjustments, but they're handling it about as well as you think, you can handle it.
When you look at the rest of the schedule, Coach, who do you think is they're going to be the toughest opponent that you have left on your schedule?
We try to tell kids every opponent. The next one is
they're not going to be watching this, Coach.
Yeah. The next one is the toughest, but we got Santa Fe coming up later. We got Fort White. I know they're improved. We actually got to see them a little bit. Santa Fe this summer. Fort White has a really good quarterback, so we know they're going to be tough. And Williston's an improved team too, coming up in a couple weeks. So,
now what classification is Newberry these days?
We're 1A.
Okay, so you're 1A. So I'm still confused with the way the playoffs this year. They've thrown out the districts. Y'all normally do have districts or don't have districts?
We don't. We have regions.
That's right.
They have regions, and normally 6 teams make it out of each region. I think everybody that opts in makes the playoffs this year, based on people couldn't get 10 games scheduled.
And so the playoffs this year, if I understand correctly, they're going to take all the 1A schools in this area, basically put names in a hat, draw 2 names out, and those 2 teams play week 1.
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of how it's going.
So you're keeping your fingers crossed that Madison County doesn't come up when they pull out Newberry, right?
Well, you'd like to see them later, but, we're looking forward to playing Madison one day. So hopefully we get that. I don't want to play Hawthorne early on. I think that would be unfair. But Union, Trenton, they're all going to be tough games. There's some pretty good 1A teams around here.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Well, Coach, if tomorrow night y'all play at home, the general public's not able to go up and buy tickets, right?
No, sir. Everything is sold online. We've had great support. We've sold out every home game so far by Wednesday. Tuesday or Wednesday of the game week, all our tickets are gone.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Well, Coach, we wish y'all a lot of luck. We'll get you on the next couple of weeks, see how the season is going. Don't yell at your son too much now. Take it easy on him.
Yes, sir. I'll try not to.
All right, that's Coach Ed Johnson joining us on the Titan MR hotline. We appreciate him joining us.
Thank you for having me again.
Thank you for joining the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup.
We're now going to go to the Titan MR hotline, and we're joined by head football coach at Trinity Catholic, John Brantley. Good morning, John. How are you?
Dane, how we doing, my man?
Doing great. You're coming off a big win against South Sumter. Tell us a little bit about that game and how your guys performed.
Well, as I probably talked in our show about a week or so ago, I didn't know what to expect. No spring ball, all new coaches, all new players, all new system, and only had 5 days in full pads. And so I didn't have any idea. And our kids went out and played a phenomenal game. I mean, we got going early, took the opening kickoff, didn't defer. I always take the ball, learned that from the head ball coach. And we take it down there, and we left some points on it. We got a field goal, got it back, and went down there. And before you knew it, it's 10-0. We're off and running against a very good South Sumter team. Ty Lawrence and his coaches down there, probably one of the better coach programs around this area. So anytime you can get a win against a program like that, especially your first game of the year, and they'd already played 2 games, I was tickled to death to leave there with a win the other night.
Yeah, talk a little bit about, you have an enormous offensive line. I believe they average about 6'4", about 285. Did you rely on the ground game in this victory?
Oh, yeah. I got a bunch of calls after the game later on, because we ran for about 340 yards the other night. But you know what? In coaching this game, you don't have to be real smart. I know, and they're 6'6", about 285 across that line. You're going to get behind it. And then you got a running back who's, right at 5'11", 210 pounds, who ran for 2,300 yards right behind him. So, we got behind the horses and let him run, and he did a phenomenal job. And Cole Gonzalez, who transferred down from Gainesville, from Oak Hall, and he did a fantastic job. Managed the game well, still learning our system. Got a lot to learn, but he took off and ran 74 yards untouched to the house there in the second quarter. That kind of gave us an opportunity to move away from South Sumter, but really pleased. Defense, we got to shore up some things on our defense, but I think we'll get that done. We gave them a cheap touchdown they had a scoop and score, but we had a pick six for a touchdown. So overall, I got to give my team a A-. Great effort.
Good deal. Well, tonight you play here at Citizens Field against the Gainesville Hurricanes. I believe they're 1-1. What have you seen on tape from Gainesville?
Just typical Gainesville. They got athletes all over the place. Doc Pollard's a good friend of mine. Had him down there at Bellevue with me a little bit. So I kind of know what they're going to be about. But, look forward to getting up there. And Citizens Field, one of my favorite places to go play. Had a lot of good experiences there. And I've had a couple of bad, but more good. And I just look forward to getting our kids back on the football field. It's been a long grind all summer, and to finally get out there, it's fun. And I'm glad we even got the short week to get back out there.
And Coach, I believe you got a 7-game schedule. You sit at 1-0. You've opted into the state playoffs. What does your team? Obviously you've only played 1 game, but you only have 6 more. It's really weird with a short season. What do you think your team? And like I said, it's only been 1 game, but what does your team need to improve on for you to make a deep run in the playoffs?
Well, I think we only play 1 team that's even within our 3A classification the rest of the way. I've challenged our kids with a tough schedule. I mean, we got coming up in a couple of weeks, we got to travel to Jacksonville and play Bowles, who they've got a fantastic football team. We got 8A Sandalwood out of Jacksonville. They're athletes. They're all coming down to Ocala the week after that. Victory Christian out of Lakeland, who's always in the state championship here the last 4 years. So it's a challenge. As long as we stay healthy and keep growing this football team, we get the 3A state playoffs, I think that's going to have us more than ready to go and attack that schedule.
I think I asked you this a couple of weeks ago when you were on, but a lot of people, when you look at college football, they're talking about whoever wins the championship, there's going to be an asterisk beside it. I disagree. I think whoever wins the national title in football should have multiple exclamation points because of what the kids, the coaches are having to go through this year. It's like no other. How have your kids, and at the high school level, it's a little bit different than college from a testing protocol, but I can't imagine what the high school kids and coaches are having to go through right now with all this COVID. How have your kids responded to it?
They've been great. I get my best receiver back this week who's been in quarantine for 14 days just because he was sitting within 6 feet of a person in a class who came down with a positive case of it. So you won't know week to week kind of who you have. It's just been a hit and miss with everything. We've been lucky. We've only had a couple of cases, but that one's been the only one that's really affected us. So, but that could change tomorrow. I mean, that's the thing that's going on. So, but our kids overall have been fantastic, and it's just keeping their focus because about the time we get excited to start something, you had a vote by FHSAA, backed it up a couple weeks. Then the diocese who controls Trinity came in, said, we want to make sure we're going to back it up 2 weeks. So the next thing we know, our kids are backed up a month, and they were ready to go at the time. So our coaches have done a great job of keeping these kids interested and keeping them going and just keeping them in line to get through this shortened season.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you joining the show. Good luck tonight against Gainesville. We'll talk to you on down the road because you've got a team that can make a run for the state title. We wish y'all a lot of luck.
Well, I appreciate it, Shane. Y'all get out. Everybody in Gainesville, come on out and see us. That big line's that's worth the price of admission. Just see that big college line out there.
No doubt about it. All right, Johnny, take care, my man.
Thank you, bud.
That's John Brantley joining us from the Titan Memorial Hotline.
High School Roundup Thursdays brought to you by Baker Sporting Goods.
We're now joined on the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup by Buchholz head football coach Mark Whittemore. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Morning to you, Shane.
Coach, you sit at 0-1. You had a bye week, which sometimes is good, sometimes bad. How did you and your team approach the bye week?
Well, we were pretty disgusted with ourselves after our performance against Oakleaf offensively, to tell you the truth. So, we started with our coaching staff and offensively and just our operations, wanted to clean them up, make sure that we, all operations, communication, everything to the quarterback and all that were what we wanted. We took the week to go over our scheme and how we were addressing things, our run to pass ratio and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like, we got better during our open week for sure.
Coach, you got a big rivalry game. It's kind of a unique situation. You play in the East Side. Usually that's Buchholz's and East Side's first game of the year each year. Are the kids excited to play in a game like this?
The kids are really pumped up. I mean, this is, obviously with the pandemic and everything, and they've got a lot of pent up enthusiasm, super ready to go out and compete. And, the city rivalry just tunes up their emotions even more. So, yeah, I'm sure Alex DeLeon over there at Eastside would say the same thing. These kids they're ready to play some football.
Speaking of Alex, he's a former offensive line coach for the Bobcats. Have you ever coached against one of your former coaches?
A couple times. I'm talking to one right now.
That's true. That's true. I forgot about that.
I think that this is probably the first time though where it's been somebody that was with me as a young coach. Alex, he was a first year coach with us, and we spent a lot of time, he and I, and just watched him grow and become, the professional that he is over there at Eastside today. So it's going to be a special aspect of our yearly rivalry would be the fact that Alex DeLeon, former Bobcat coach, is the head coach there now.
When you look at Eastside on tape, what jumps out at you?
Well, I think Alex has done a really good job of creating an environment where those kids know what they're doing on every play. A real sense of team, and so I think that the kids are going to come out and play really, really hard for him. I've watched them in a couple games now, and they make up for wherever they lack with really hard play. So we are under the impression as a coaching staff and as a team that we're going to get Eastside's best effort for sure Friday night.
When you look at tape, Holden Johnson, their quarterback, I've worked a little bit with him throughout his career. I think he had to play a little bit last year as a ninth grader when Anthony Richardson was hurt. How's he look on tape?
Right. He looks like a kid who has been coached. I mean, he gets the ball out quick, which for a kid of his stature and his age, where he is in the maturation process, arm talent and stuff like that, he does a super job of knowing what his strengths are and playing to them. And I was super impressed with how he's gotten the ball out on time, against some pretty decent opponents. So I'm really concerned about his ability to read the defense and make the correct throw in key situations.
Coach, you talked about y'all's loss to Oakleaf. You weren't happy with the way you played on the offensive side of the ball. Were you pleased with the defense?
I really was, Shane. I mean, defensively, we in our classic game against Trinity Christian and then our game against Oakleaf, we played stingy defense. I really think that, Matt Clayton off the edge has been fun to watch. He's got a motor that's just relentless. And then DJ in the defensive backfield, Damian Curtis, those two guys are really doing a great job of keeping our defense playing championship caliber. So now, we just got to get our offense clicking. Cleaned up some things on special teams as well. And so, I look forward to seeing what these 2 weeks are gonna show.
Last thing for you, Coach, big rivalry game. It's always a packed house at Citizens Field. General public can't just walk up to the gate and buy a ticket for this event, can they?
Well, it's online, Shane, but I think if there are still tickets of the amount that were allotted available, I think you still can. Well, I mean, basically what you do is you just buy the ticket on your phone. So,
Gotcha.
I mean, if there are still tickets available, you buy the ticket on your phone and you show the phone screen to the ticket attendant. That's kind of that's the way of the future.
All right, my man. Well, we look forward to watching the game tomorrow night against the Eastside Rams. Wish you a lot of luck, Coach. Hope everybody stays safe, and we'll talk to you next week.
You better believe it. Thanks, Shane. Take care.
Coach Mark Whittemore of the Buchholz Bobcats. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline.
Thank you for joining Baker's Sporting Goods High School Roundup here on Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
Now on the Baker's Sporting Goods High School Roundup, we're going to be joined on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline by Cornelius Ingram, former Gator superstar, now the head football coach of the Hawthorne Hornets. Good morning, Cornelius. How are you?
I'm good, Shane. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Okay, so what's your record as you sit right now?
We're 2-0 right now. 2-0. I don't know if you want me to talk about what we have going on, or maybe.
Yeah, I do, because I want our listeners to know y'all were scheduled to play Mount Dora.
Yep.
Tell us what's going on.
Well, we were scheduled to play Mount Dora. I had a player come in contact with someone who had COVID, so we quarantined our kids. So we didn't play Middleburg last week because of it. And then this upcoming week, we're supposed to have Mount Dora, who we reached out to them, because we have to do that even if, we think someone came in contact with someone with COVID. So we reached out to the school and we told them we would have all our players and coaches tested for the virus, and they basically moved on. So not only did we lose a game last week, we lost Mount Dora for this upcoming Friday, and it was a home game for us on Friday. So right now, I've been back and forth with assistant coaches, principal, AD here at Hawthorne about scheduling a game for Friday. So, it's up and down. But one thing I do know, Shane, being on Twitter, I see everyone is going through it. Everyone is going through it. So it's not like it's just us. But we always try to give the team a heads up of what's going on. And we told them that we would have all of our guys tested, all of the coaches tested, and we did. And all of them came back negative. And we kind of figured, we probably will have a high percentage of guys negative. So we were willing to still play the game. And, of course, you got to be cautious with everything. So we're not upset with Mount Dora and moving on and scheduling someone else, but we're looking to find a game right now as we speak.
So what's crazy is you may find a game for Friday night. You're continually you're practicing with your kids, but it may be one of these deals where last minute another team gets on the bus, rolls into Hawthorne. You have no idea what they're going to do offensively. And go at it.
It's funny you said. I just did an interview with Steve Russell, and I mentioned that to him, because for us, we try to run multiple sets of formations on offense. We try to give multiple looks for our defense. So some of these guys can be somewhat prepared to play, whoever, but we haven't even been at practice. This is the first day our kids been back on campus. So this will be our first day back out on the field. So it's definitely up in the air, but it's one of those things where we definitely want to play because we got a good opponent, PK Young, next Friday coming to Hawthorne. So we definitely want to play because I feel like we kind of created some rhythm in our first two games, and we want to try to continue that. And our defense have been playing great. Special teams have been playing great. But being off for 2 weeks can kind of slow things down a bit. So we'll try to prepare them. We have today and tomorrow. Regardless, we'll definitely practice. And if we get a game, which I think we should, and hopefully we can go from there.
So when you look at your first two wins, Cornelius, what stood out the most for you? Has it been the offensive side of the football?
Probably defensively. We have some really sharp cats, man. They kind of know the game. We have a great defensive coordinator and co-defensive coordinator as well. They've been doing a great job with teaching their scheme to our guys, and they're making it where all our guys can comprehend it and play fast and play to our strengths. So defensively, I think we've been pretty special. And being a quarterback, offensively, it takes time to get a rhythm. Most of the time, the defenses might start a little faster than the offense. And we got some new guys who came in, so they're still kind of learning the system. But the most important thing for us, we just wanted to have some of these guys on film because a lot of them hadn't played a lot of ball. So, once we're able to get them on film and we're able to watch and teach technique or whatever position that they play, it helps out because a lot of these kids haven't seen themselves on film yet. And you can show them that they're taking the wrong steps on zone block, or you can show them that they, had a bad release on a certain route that they ran. And once they see themselves, it's kind of easy to make those corrections. So it's definitely been fun. And like I said, it's only 2 games in, but our future here is very bright. I have a lot of young guys who will be able to play a lot of football, not only for me, but some college football as well. So that tells you what kind of talent we have.
Yeah, Hawthorne, a 1A school. What's your numbers like this year?
Right now, I have almost about 41, 42 kids on the team. Yeah, never happened in Hawthorne history, of course. We've been able to help, some kids, not only on the field but off the field as well. And you got a lot to offer. You have a winning program. Just that alone speaks for itself, and people want to be a part of it. Now, in the future, we plan on playing everyone that we possibly can play, especially in the area. Some of the bigger schools, that is something I'm open to doing, especially in the next year, because I feel like we have those caliber players. I feel like we can compete, and it's all about these kids just growing and maturing as ball players. And I know once we get to that level, I know we've made some huge strides, and I think we'll be there soon. But having 42 kids on a Hawthorne football program is special.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, Cornelius,
Yep.
I appreciate you taking the time to join us. We're going to touch
Yes,
base
sir.
with you periodically throughout the year.
Yep.
Hopefully y'all find an opponent for Friday night. But if not, just keep practicing, boys, and get them ready for the next game.
Yep. Thanks.
All right, that's
right,
Cornelius
appreciate it,
Ingram
Shane.
joining us on the Titan MR hotline. We'll be right back.
This is Shane Matthews. Thank you for listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning. You can also check me out on Inside the Huddle with Steve Russell and the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. Tune in every Tuesday during football season on WRUF 98.1 FM, 8:50 a.m. at 10 o'clock in the morning, or find us on your favorite podcast platform.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. GTS Handyman Services, whether you need carpet cleaning or expert painting in Gainesville, they are the team to hire. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte.
Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, The Digital Mortgage Guy, Adams Ribs, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Miapa Latin Cafe, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Radware, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Dar Shakow Insurance.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Really want to thank Brent Beaird for joining us and all the high school coaches for the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. Celebration Point's where the Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro, Tommy Hilfiger, Hotel Indigo, Nike, Medici's, Regal Cinemas, and coming spring of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurs Gridiron Grill and Visor Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point where the Gators come to celebrate. Some news and notes around sports. The Miami Heat take a 3-1 lead last night over the Boston Celtics. Also, our thoughts and prayers go out to Gail Sayers and his family. The Kansas Comet passed away yesterday. We need to get to our This Day in Sports, brought to you by GTS, Gainesville's premier maintenance company. Whether you need carpet cleaning or expert painting, fences mended, or any handyman services, call GTS 352-363-6622. On this day in 1988, Carl Lewis sets the world record in the 100 meters at 9.92 seconds. However, that is no longer the world record. Usain Bolt has it at 9.54, I believe. That's This Day in Sports, brought to you by GTS, Gainesville's premier maintenance company. Don't forget, tomorrow, JC will be back with us. We'll make our college football picks. Also, I'm going to have Richard Cross, Ole Miss Radio Network, SEC Network analyst, will join us as well. And then we'll have Mark Campbell, former Gator defensive lineman, who's been a long-time strength coach, join the program. Let's see, we got football tonight. You got a college football game. You got UAB and South Alabama, small schools playing, which I know a lot of people don't like it. I'll be tuning in. And if you're an NFL guy, you get to watch Gardner Minshew and the Jaguars host the Miami Dolphins. So should be a great night. This show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. Stay safe out there, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.